Nübüvvet, hakikat arayışında peygamber ışığı.
Thank you, Mr. The President. I mean, you know, the light is not enough, so I cannot really read my paper. So in this sense, therefore, I'm going to try to give the paper verbally and try to make sense out of it, because there are some quotations so small that they cannot be really read by my eyes. So my paper, therefore, is an attempt to make a comparison between العلامة نورسي and العلامة ابن خلدون and my interpretation of social science, of the phenomena of prophethood. Because in social science, of course, we look at these phenomena and we try to understand them, within somewhat an objective perspective. So, I mean, of course, we heard a lot about Al-Allama Nursi in terms of prophethood in this symposium. So I do not need really to expand his thought on this issue. But I can make some points. Now, of course, Al-Allama Nursi, from like an epistemological point of view, he says there is a need for prophethood to be present, to exist among humans. And of course, he makes this analogy with the ants, which must have a leader, and also with the bees, which must have a queen. And he said, therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will not leave humanity, okay, with all the differences in color, in size, without a leader. And as a result, therefore, the legitimacy of a prophethood comes from this analogy, that as bees and ants need queens and leader, so do humans. And the leaders in this case, therefore, are prophets or prophethood. And one thing which seems to be interesting to stop in is that Al-Allama Nursi says there are signs of the Creator, okay, in the creation of the world. I mean, in the Quran, of course, the word used is al-ayat. All right? Therefore, there are many signs when we look at the sea, when we look at nature, when we look at a human, etc. Then we see many signs which indicate that there is a presence. There is one God, one Creator. But he said that's not enough. In the sense, for a human, they need also the spoken word to talk about the Creator, or to draw their attention to the Creator. And you see, so therefore, the prophets, they bring with them a revelation. That means spoken words or written words, as it is manifested in the Quran. So therefore, and I would like to add here something which is hardly used to point out to the importance of the spoken words, okay? Because we humans, spoken language and written language are two distinct features of the human race. We have no other races who can write with the pen, علم الإنسان بالقلم, and also they don't have spoken words in the human sense of the term. In my own analysis of the cultural symbols are as distinct of the human race, I say without language the rest of the human, of the cultural symbols, they will not be there. No religion, no law, no science, etc. So the language, therefore, is the distinct feature which distinguishes the human race. Therefore, it is a blessing, therefore, to have a spoken word and a written word in revelation to the prophets so they could admire the existence of the one creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in Islam. So in this sense, therefore, as we say in English, for all these reasons, then النورسي takes the phenomena of a prophethood as something taken for granted. In the sense, it need not to be raised why there is prophethood. There are enough reasons to give it legitimacy or to make it necessary. Now, when we move to Ibn Khaldun, and the light is on better, then Ibn Khaldun also, in his Muqaddimah, his famous book, he spoke particularly in the first part of his Muqaddimah, because the Muqaddimah is made of 6 parts. Okay, he spoke in the first part about prophethood, and also in the last part of his Muqaddimah, he spoke about prophethood. But he spoke more in the first part about prophethood than in the last or the 6th part of his Muqaddimah. Now, Ibn Khaldun, therefore, he resembles Al-Allama النورسي in accepting prophethood as something taken for granted. I mean, as a Muslim scholar, both of them, therefore, Muhammad as a prophet is something taken for granted. It means accepted, endorsed, welcomed, etc. But Ibn Khaldun, I mean, he goes to talk about a few things which are associated with the revelation itself to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. Like, look, for instance, when revelation comes to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, the Prophet spoke of the feeling or the reaction or even the pain he has, okay, when he receives the revelation. Like his wife Aisha spoke that when revelation came to the Prophet, even in a very cold day, then there is a sweat on the front of the Prophet. Okay, now we have, some verses in the Quran which speaks of the impact or the heavy impact of the revelation on the Prophet. And one verse in Surah Al-Muzammil, it says very clearly, I mean, I can read it here in Arabic better, but I mean, the verse says, Inna, it means Allah is speaking of himself. Inna sanulqi alayka qawlan thaqila. It means we will reveal to you a heavy message. In the sense you may be sweating when you receive it, or you may be shocked because of it. Okay, so this is the experience of revealing revelation to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi as-salatu was-salam. Now, of course, one of the reactions of the Prophet, because he was receiving revelation, he was afraid that he may lose some of the words which were revealed to him. So he rushed, okay, to repeat them maybe to his fellow companion, to write them down. So the Quran came and said, watch it. Don't be afraid. We will, okay, reveal the Quran and keep it intact. So the Quran says, لا تعجل به لسانك. Don't rush and try to read it very rapidly. لا تعجل به لسانك إنا علينا جمعه وبيانه. So this is, of course, comes to comfort the Prophet that he should not be afraid to lose what he has revealed as revelation. 5 minutes only. Are the things which I have said clear enough? Clear enough. Okay, now the last part I worked when I was in Malaysia. I was in Malaysia in 1997. And one of the things which made me think and make a link between social sciences, all right, and prophethood, that when we come to human knowledge, to knowledge in general, we find that human knowledge, okay, that philosophers and thinkers all around the world, they say in terms of the credibility of human knowledge, all right? They say human knowledge is a problematic knowledge, which means what? Which means it will always have error and has also correctness. So the human knowledge, we cannot say that it is always certain what we have. Even today in what we call exact science, physics, etc., we can talk only of the relativity of the credibility of human knowledge. All right? Then if a human knowledge, like look for instance at Ibn Khaldun, he has a law, he called it قانون المطابقة, the law of conformity. Because his historian before, they told us, for instance, that the pyramids in Egypt, because they are so great and so gigantic, they say, hey, look, these were built by giant Egyptian, very tall Egyptian. Khaldun, he said, how could we check this is true or false? He said, when we go today to the pyramids in their doors, we find the doors are very regular doors. It means the Egyptian who built the pyramids, they were not giant people. So this called, therefore he said, we will believe in something recorded in history and reported by historian only when there is a matching, when there is a conformity between what the historian had said and what the reality of those things is. And in this sense, therefore, human knowledge is doubtful. There is always uncertainty about it. And I said, therefore, prophethood, which brings the true knowledge, the certain knowledge, the absolute knowledge, there is a need for it. Look, for instance, just an example, drinking alcohol, all right? We know, in Western society, drinking alcohol has become a custom. And there is a big debate, and all reports in Western society, they say it's not good for car accidents, for. But of course, people, because they are accustomed, they cannot very easily, avoid them. And in this sense, therefore, the Quran has come with an absolute certain knowledge by saying, ultimately, drinking alcohol is not good for a human. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
İstanbul İlim ve Kültür Vakfı